On this week's episode of A Drier Dose of Disney, Jared shares with us the best foods and places to eat at the Magic Kingdom.
Welcome to another episode of A Drier Dose of Disney. I'm your host, Jared Dreyer, and we've got a great episode for you today where we are going to be highlighting the best foods and the best places to eat at Magic Kingdom in Orlando. If you've been listening to our series, we've already highlighted the parks out there on the West Coast. We did Disneyland, California Adventure, Downtown Disney, and Universal. And we are now over on the East Coast, and this is episode number 5 out of 11 in the series of the best places to eat and the best foods at the park. And this is a great one because Magic Kingdom is a very large park with a lot of different choices, a lot of different food, and a lot of great things to eat. So we're going to highlight the best ones that we have had personally and take you through the entire park and tell you how you can maximize your day at the same time as getting the best foods that are possible out there. We are going to highlight for you the top 5 restaurants in the park. We're going to talk about how to get reservations at some of those. We're going to talk about the top 5 actual meals in the park because they're not always at the best restaurants. And then we're going to talk about the top 5 snacks. And it's going to be a really fun day. It's going to make me really hungry. I hope it makes you guys hungry too. And we hope that this gets you in the mood and getting ready to go out to Magic Kingdom in Orlando. And it helps you start thinking about how you want to plan your day. Now, a couple disclaimers as we get into this talking about the best places to eat. And first is you need to know that at all the Disney parks, you're always going to have the option of having the hamburgers, the hot dogs, the pizza, and the chicken nuggets. So we're going to do our best to not cover those unless there's a special call out that we do want to talk about. So you're not going to hear us talking a lot about those types of food items or those restaurants, okay? Our second disclosure is we are one family, and though we take our friends and family with us very often within our set group, we don't get the opportunity to eat at every single restaurant and every single meal, though we do cover most of them. So there may be some things that we haven't tried yet that are fantastic. So we want to hear about those. If we didn't cover your favorite food item or your favorite place to eat, or maybe we left something out, please find us over at Facebook at A Drier Dose of Disney and send us a comment and let us know about your favorite food or your favorite place to eat. And we will update these episodes and hopefully we'll talk about your favorite item that you'd let us know about. And we'll do our best to try one of those items on our next visit out there to Orlando. Now, when we're talking about Orlando Disney parks, there are 2 Disney parks that are very difficult to eat everything at and to try everything. And that's obviously Magic Kingdom and Epcot. And Epcot's going to be our next episode. In fact, if you didn't know this about me, Epcot is my favorite park because of all the food choices and all the variety there. I love to eat. I'm a foodie. We love to spend our time going through the parks, trying different things. We love to share a lot of the different things that we order so that way we're not getting too full too quickly, but we get a chance to try the best items in the park and really enjoy those and really learn not only about the park, but in Epcot in particular, we learn about the different cultures and the different lifestyles that are out there. So we really love that. So these 2 parks are really difficult when it comes to picking the top 5 restaurants and the top 5 meals. So bear with me. And again, if you have something that should have made the list, just let us know. And we would love to include that on one of our future updates. But before we get started, I do want to remind all of our listeners, please click that subscribe button. Like I said, this is episode number 5 of 11. And we want to make sure that you're getting delivered this content into your mailbox every single week when we drop episodes. And you have all the episodes ready to go when we're talking about all the best places to eat and all the best foods out in the park. Number 2, we do ask if you have a tip or trick, or if one of these restaurant episodes helped you save money or helped you better plan your day, please support us over at Patreon. You can find that in our link down in our podcast description, or if you're on YouTube, you can find that in the video description and you can support us there. And just a couple bucks goes a long way, and that helps us keep this podcast going. But in addition to that, if you're a supporter of us over on Patreon, you're going to get early access to our Butterbeer episode, which is already live and out there for you. And you're going to get access to our How to Go to Disney for Almost Free episode, which we've done twice now, our family. So it's a great way to save some money and to make your trip a lot more efficient and a lot more cost effective. And so we want to get that content to our supporters first. And so that's out there for you on Patreon. Now, when we go into today and the top 5 restaurants and the top 5 food items and stuff, what we're going to be looking at is number one is what's the food quality? How good is the food? And is this something a lot of people are going to want to eat? Number two is we're going to look at what's the atmosphere, especially in the restaurants. And number three, what is the cost? Because I know for a lot of families, it's very expensive to go to Disney World. And so they're thinking about costs at every turn, making sure they're maximizing the bang for their buck. And then there's some families that want to go out and splurge. So we're going to make sure we're covering both of those for you. So with that, let's dive right on into our top 5 restaurants. And we are going to start with number 5, and that is over in Adventureland. And that is the Jungle Navigation Company, Skipper's Canteen. And this is a great sit-down restaurant that has really cool theming and an atmosphere in the restaurant where you're going to see some of those artifacts and archaeological type items that are similar to the Jungle Cruise over in Adventureland. And it's just got a really cool, fun theme over there. So we really enjoy this for the theme. Now, as far as the expense of the restaurant, it is a little bit pricier since it is a sit-down restaurant, but it's not as bad as your top couple restaurants that are out there, which we're going to talk about here in just a moment. So it's middle of the road when you're looking at sit-down restaurants. The food quality is great. They've got so many different food items out there. I can tell you that within your family, you're probably going to find something that everybody likes as you go through the Jungle Navigation Company Skipper Canteen. So we definitely recommend this. This is our number 5 restaurant out there. It is obviously not as popular as the next couple we're going to go over, and we'll talk about those here in just a second. But this is a great choice. So if you were not able to secure reservation at one of the next 2 restaurants, then we would definitely recommend the Jungle Navigation Company is a great place to go. You're going to have a fun atmosphere, and it's not going to necessarily break the bank. Again, it is middle of the road, but the food is great and you're going to enjoy it. So that's our number 5 restaurant. That then takes us to number 4, which is Cinderella's Royal Table. And I know a lot of our listeners are going to be a little bit surprised that I put Cinderella's Royal Table all the way down at number 4, because for a lot of them, this is in the top 2 restaurants over at Magic Kingdom. And I want to explain why. Number 1, the atmosphere is phenomenal. So as far as atmosphere goes, I'm going to give it like a 9 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10. You are eating inside the castle at the Magic Kingdom. That's a really cool, awesome thing to do. It's also a character dinner or lunch. You're going to get to meet a lot of the different princesses that are there. And it, as far as atmosphere goes, it's almost unbeatable with the exception of another one on the list. And when you even look at all the Disney parks in Orlando, this is very easily in the top 5 as far as atmosphere goes. So a lot of listeners are going to be surprised that I have this at number 4 at Magic Kingdom on our list, but there are some specific reasons. So number 1, the food is all very good at Magic Kingdom. And I can tell you across the board, pretty much anywhere you go, you're going to enjoy the food. However, at Cinderella's Royal Table, you don't have a huge selection. And if you have picky eaters, they may not find something that's very good for them over at Cinderella's Royal Table. That's a consideration. So I would say definitely before you go, while you're planning your trip and before you make your reservations, it's probably worth pulling up the menu, checking it out to see, is everybody in my family going to love this type of food? And is this the food that we're going to want to enjoy while we're out there in Orlando? If it's not, it's probably not worth fighting for the reservation. It's probably worth using your reservation or finding something else at the park, which when we get to our number 1, I'm going to explain why you should be getting a reservation there. Okay. So we'll get there obviously in a few minutes, but look at that menu first, because not everybody's going to love what's at Cinderella's Royal Table. Now there are, as far as the kids go, there are kids meals. And so you get a chance to look at all that. But the second reason that I would recommend against it, and not saying it's a bad restaurant, but it's number 4 on my list, is the price. This is in the top 2 most expensive restaurants in the park because it is a character dining restaurant. And because of that, it is much more pricier than many of the other places that you can eat. So as far as we're concerned, we like to say, if you want to have that experience with the dining with the princesses in the castle, by all means, Cinderella's Royal Table is a great place to go. And we would highly recommend it and say it probably should be at the top of your list. But if you are not interested in doing the dining with the princesses, there are other options out there that are going to be better for you. And we'll get to those in just a moment here. But like our number 4, Cinderella's Royal Table, let me take you to our number 3, and that is Be Our Guest, which is the Beauty and the Beast themed restaurant back in Fantasyland. And again, for a lot of our listeners and people that have gone to Orlando very frequently, they're probably surprised that this did not make number one on the list, because this is usually the top desired restaurant for reservations at Magic Kingdom. And there's no question that these reservations go quicker than any of the others at most of the other parks as well. So Be Our Guest is a very popular restaurant. Now, like Cinderella's Royal Table, as far as atmosphere goes, no question, this one's a 10 out of 10. And I can say there's only one other restaurant in all of Disney World that would even compare to Be Our Guest. And we're going to talk about that on the Epcot episode next week. So you'll definitely want to tune in for that. So as far as the atmosphere goes, it's incredible. Disney has obviously a great attention to detail. They do a great job when they're theming things, and they did a fantastic job with Be Our Guest. It is set inside a Beast Castle, and they have 3 different distinct rooms, which include like the ballroom, and you have the library, which has thunder and lightning and stuff like that going on. So it's a really cool restaurant. And depending on where you sit, you get to be in a really cool room. And that doesn't mean you can't take a moment and walk around the restaurant and go see the other rooms as well. And I would encourage you to do that. But the restaurant is just so cool as far as theming goes, especially if you get into the library with the thunder and lightning going on, which we've sat in there. And it's a really cool environment to be in. On top of that is also a character restaurant. So you're usually going to see Beast coming around and greeting people at different tables. At least that's who we saw when we were there. And it's just really cool to interact with the characters when you're in the restaurant. So we really enjoy that aspect of Be Our Guest and think it's a really cool place to go. Now, the challenges with it are identical to Cinderella's Royal Table. The first challenge is the food. The food is really good, but it is very adult-oriented food. So it is French cuisine. There are things on the menu that you get, like on your appetizers, you can get charred octopus, you can get escargot, which is snails. And we had a chance to try all those. The food is really good, but if you're squeamish at all and you don't enjoy those things, it's tough to find something that's really good at this restaurant because it is French-based cuisine. So that makes it a challenge for picky eaters or people that may not be as experimental or wanting to try new things or being adventurous in that manner. So the food quality is great, but your selection options may not be exactly what you're looking for. So just like Cinderella's Royal Table, I'm going to tell you, before you make this reservation, go check the menu, make sure that you're going to find something that you want to eat, as well as the people in your party are going to want to eat. Again, for the kids, they have a couple different kid menus, and so that's usually pretty easy to find. But for the adults, it can be a little bit more challenging. So we definitely say check that out before you make the reservation. The second reason is this is the most expensive restaurant in the park. So as far as cost goes, it's way up there at the top of the list. And so we definitely encourage you, be mindful when you're planning your budget and thinking about where you want to eat at Magic Kingdom, because this one is going to cost you the most. Now, again, you're also paying for that experience, that atmosphere. And so that definitely goes into it. And if your kid loves Beauty and the Beast or you love Beauty and the Beast, we would encourage you, definitely go. It is a really cool experience. But again, you're eating French cuisine. The food's a little bit more challenging for quite a few people, and it's very expensive. So that's why it's number 3 on our list, and it didn't crack into the top 2. But with that, let's go to number 2. And number 2 is actually going to surprise quite a few people, and that is Pecos Bill. Now, this is a quick service restaurant, but it is quick service, and it's a Tex-Mex type of flair. So you've got fajitas, you've got nachos, tacos, things like that. But the food at Pecos Bill is what makes this number 2 on our list. The food is so good. There is so much seating in Pecos Bill. It is all indoors, so you get a chance to get out of the heat. And with your phone, you can do the mobile ordering, which if you listen to our Disneyland episode, that was our I can do this all day tip of the day, was to use mobile ordering. And that is a key factor here at Pecos Bill. So you don't have to come in and wait in the long line behind everyone else. Come in, go find a table, kick your feet up for just a second, let your family relax. You can go through and create your order on your phone and then submit it and say, I'm here. And then they'll tell you what window to come up and pick it up at. So you get to skip the line. If you listen to our Disneyland episode when we talked about mobile ordering, I'm going to give you a little plug here and say mobile ordering is probably one of the best tips and tricks for all of the Disney parks, both in Anaheim, California, and in Orlando. And that's because if you are somebody like us that is moving through your day and trying to maximize it and hit every ride. You cannot do it without using mobile ordering for your food. And the reason is when you do get into a line that's going to be a little bit longer, we recommend pull up your phone if it's close to a mealtime and let your family take a look at the menu, identify what you want to eat, and go ahead and select it and create your cart and go ahead and check out, because they're not going to make the food until you click on here. But you can have that all done and all ready to go so that when you go to that restaurant of your choosing, you can just click on here and they're going to start preparing that food for you right away. So mobile ordering is going to save you a ton of time. It's like having a fast pass at the restaurants. But the other aspect of mobile ordering that I absolutely love and actually played off for me really well here at Pecos Bill is you get a chance at looking at the menu and looking at all the different options that you have out there. That is huge because you're going to find stuff on the menus that you have never heard about, especially if they change them seasonally. You're going to get new ideas, or you're going to see really cool things that you may think, hey, that sounds really good. And in fact, my favorite drink at all of the Disney parks is at Pecos Bill. And we're going to talk about that in our next section here in just a couple minutes. But I didn't even know about it until I was doing a mobile order. And as I was scrolling through, I went down to the drinks and I was just going to select some Cokes and Diet Cokes like we normally get in a bottle of water. And when I got down there, I saw this drink that I absolutely love. And when I saw it, I thought, I've got to try this. This looks so good. This is exactly what I want. And I ordered it. And I can tell you now, I go out of my way every single time I'm at Magic Kingdom to get that drink. So that's why we encourage mobile ordering, is you're going to learn new things. You're going to see new options that are out there. And Pecos Bill has mobile ordering. Now, back to Pecos Bill. Like I said, tons of seating in there, Tex-Mex food. It's all really good. We have tried so many different things on the menu, and we have never had a complaint from any of our friends and family going there. And it just really hits the spot. And the reason it does is as you go through some of the other parks, like I said, there's so many consistencies between the hamburgers, the hot dogs, the pizza, and all that. To get a little Tex-Mex is a good, pleasant change of pace. So that's why we love Pecos Bill. Since it's counter service, it's one of the least expensive options in the park. So if you are watching your budget, out of our top 5 restaurants, this one's the least expensive. So we highly recommend, if you're watching a budget at all, eat at Pecos Bill. It's going to be the least expensive option. And like I said earlier, we like to share. So you can always get something like the pulled pork nachos and you can share those. And then the kids maybe finish off the chips or whatnot if they don't like the salsa. We like to do that because we like to eat our way through the park. So Pecos Bill is our number 2 spot on the list, which now brings me to our number 1 restaurant in the Magic Kingdom. And some of you probably already know what it is, knowing that I already did be our guest in Cinderella's Royal Table. But the number 1 place, in our opinion, is Liberty Tree Tavern. This is in the Colonial America area. It's just right outside of that little street over towards the Haunted Mansion. And in the Liberty Tree Tavern, it's one of those family style meals that you're going to come in, you pay a set price for every single person, but they're going to keep bringing you food as much as you want. And you can have as much of any of the items that you want. So if there's one thing you love in particular, you can keep going after that. And the food at Liberty Tree Tavern is the best in the park. Hands down, this is the best meal you can get. It is something that everybody's going to love. It is your home cooked classics. And then the theming in the restaurant, because it's Colonial America, is that 1776 type of theming where the ladies are wearing the bonnets and they've got the aprons and the guys are wearing the Colonial America clothing. But the food is, like I said, comfort food. So you've got your mashed potatoes, your multiple different types of meat that they will bring to you. You get a salad, you get a really good berry-based dessert that is just to die for. But you get really common foods that most people are very used to, that they like. But it is some of the best food in the park. Now, I will also say on our next episode, so you want to tune into the Epcot one, there's a restaurant at Epcot that also uses the exact same food that Liberty Tree Tavern does. So if you're going to go between the 2 parks and you are trying to decide, do you want to do Liberty Tree or not? I can tell you, you're also going to have an option to get the same food over at Epcot. And we'll talk about that next week on that episode. But Liberty Tree Tavern has a cool atmosphere. It's honestly, it's not as cool as Be Our Guest or Cinderella's Royal Table, but it's still cool. But it has the best food in the entire park. The price is up there though, because it is that preset price where everyone pays the same thing. It is a little bit more pricey, but you're going to get a really great meal. It's all you can eat and you're going to be able to sit and enjoy yourself and your family can just keep asking for more of whatever they like. So that's why it's our number one restaurant. So I'd recommend when you're making reservations, definitely consider Liberty Tree Tavern as your go-to spot on your trip over to Magic Kingdom. Next, let's talk about the top 5 things that you can eat at the parks. And we're going to start with number 5. Our favorite thing over there is bacon mac and cheese. And they have it in 2 forms. You can either get it on tots or you can get it on a hot dog over at the Friars. Now, if you heard our episode over at California Adventure, one of our favorite things that also made the top 5 list there was the bacon mac and cheese cone at the Cozy Cone Motel. This is very similar, except for it's on tots or a hot dog. It's up to you which one you want. On the tots, though, we like that because you can share it, which means that if you can get multiple forks, everybody can just pick at it and have their little fill of tots and bacon mac and cheese, and it is phenomenal. Now, of course, if you want it with a hot dog, that's also an option for you. That is very messy. We do encourage using a fork and knife for that. But the bacon mac and cheese over at the Friars Nook on either the tots or the hot dog is our number 5 best meal in the park. So if you have somebody that likes mac and cheese or bacon, that is definitely a go-to that I would recommend. Next on our list, number 4 is back over at Pecos Bill. I already talked about it briefly a second ago, and that is our pulled pork nachos. And what I like to accompany it with, like I said, my favorite drink in the park is at Pecos Bill. That is the Bear Tracks root beer float. So we'll go get a pulled pork nacho with a Bear Tracks root beer float. We will share the nachos. I will hog the Bear Tracks root beer float because it's my favorite drink. But if you like root beer floats, this is a root beer float based slushy. It's got some whipped cream on top, but it also has peanut butter chips on top. So a little bit of a different flair there, but it is very good. And as far as slushies go at the Magic Kingdom Park, this is a top 1. So I would definitely recommend that you go and get that. Number 3 on our list is over at Sleepy Hollow. So we definitely encourage you to go over there because we have multiple items from Sleepy Hollow on our list. This is in Colonial America. It's actually right when you walk in off of the Main Street Circle area. Sleepy Hollow has some great items on their list. But number 3 for meals is going to be the sweet and spicy chicken and waffles sandwich. Now, if you've never had chicken and waffles, it is really good to get some fried chicken with a good spice on it, and then to accompany it with a waffle with some maple syrup that gives that strong, rich maple flavoring, but a little bit of sweetness to it. And chicken and waffles is something that we absolutely love whenever we can find it. And Sleepy Hollow does it very well. So we recommend if you're looking for a meal that's both sweet and savory and is going to really hit the spot, head on over to Sleepy Hollow and get their sweet and spicy chicken and waffle sandwich. It is so good. It's number 3 on our list of the top things in the park. So we definitely recommend it. And it's one of my favorite things. Number 2, I'm cheating a little bit because I'm going to give an honorable mention to another item at the same place. But number 2 is over at the Harbor Galley. So this is right across from the Haunted Mansion. Harbor Galley has some great seafood. It is quick service. So you're able to go in and just order what you want and then come out and there's some seating right outside. But they have 2 great things on their menu. The one I'm going to tell you is our number 2 is the New England shrimp boil, which is a traditional type of New England boil that you have the cooked shrimp, you have cooked sausage, potatoes, corn, things like that. And it's great to share because everybody can just pick at it, but it's very good. It's seasoned very well. It's going to give you a little bit of a different taste than what you're used to at the Disney parks. And if you are not from New England or you don't have a great seafood place near you at home, this is a great change of pace and something different that you can try. So that's why we recommend it, is the New England shrimp boil. Now, like I said, there's an honorable mention there, and that is they also have a lobster roll. And if you heard our episode out in California, we talked about how much our family, my wife and I, love lobster rolls. Now, there are 2 types of lobster rolls. There's the Maine, which is served cold, with usually some kind of dressing or mayo on it, or the Connecticut style, which is hot, served with hot butter. And we really love Connecticut. That's our favorite type of lobster roll. This one is a Maine style, which we still like it. It's just not as much of a favorite, but it's very good. But we've talked about this on some of our other episodes. And we're also going to talk about a similar item when we go to Epcot next week. This gets an honorable mention just because we were going to talk about this type of food item quite a bit at the parks. So the New England shrimp boil is what gets the number 2 on this list. But either way, if you like that or a lobster roll, we're going to tell you, go to Harbor Galley and check it out over there. It is so good. It gets you a different type of taste that you're not going to typically get in the park. So that's why it's our number 2 on the list. That now leads me to our number 1 item on the list. And some of you may be upset that I say this, but our number 1 is back at Liberty Tree Tavern, and it is the whole meal. Like I said, this is a very great home-style comfort meal. You get multiple types of meat to choose from. You get a full salad. It's all you can eat. You get rolls. You get dessert. You get a ton of side dishes. And everybody's going to walk away from this meal happy, feeling full, feeling like they got a great meal. And it is the best food in the park. That's why Liberty Tree Tavern made number 1 on our restaurant list. Again, this is the best meal in the park that accompanies the best restaurant in the park. Let's go now into our top 5 snacks over at Magic Kingdom. And I'm going to give an honorable mention for one item that didn't make the top 5. And the reason this item didn't make the top 5 is, honestly, I've never had it. So I've heard a lot of great things about it. Our friends have told us about it. I'm committed to trying it on my next trip out there to Magic Kingdom. But the honorable mention are the spring rolls in Adventureland. There's a little cart out there. I heard it's close to the Swiss Family Robinson treehouse that you can go to. And the spring rolls over there, I've heard, are very good. So we definitely encourage you to try those. Those are number 6 on our list. It's an honorable mention. I couldn't put it on there because I've never had them, so I couldn't speak to it. But our number 5 item on here is actually, I'm going inverse almost of what I did on our Disneyland episode. My number 1 at Disneyland, but my number 5 here at Magic Kingdom is the cream cheese pretzel. Now, if you've not had the cream cheese pretzel, you can get it over at the lunching platform over in Tomorrowland. So it's right in the center, kind of underneath where the rocket is. That is a great pretzel over there. It's a thicker pretzel. It's a bigger pretzel because within it, wrapped inside, is the cream cheese, which tastes a little bit like a cheesecake. And it is a really great item. We love to get them every single time that we're there. We do like to share these, so we may get 1 or 2 depending on how many people we're there with, and we may go back for more later. So the cream cheese pretzel is number 5 on our list of the top snacks. And in fact, at Disney World at Magic Kingdom, there are multiple types of pretzels, and I'm going to cover one here in just a couple minutes. The cream cheese pretzel is number 5 on our list, and it's a great sweet type of dessert item. So we definitely encourage you trying that. Number 4 is over towards Fantasyland, and it's actually between Fantasyland and Tomorrowland, and that is over at Cheshire Cafe, which is right next to Mad Tea Party. And again, I'm going to cheat a little bit and say pretty much anything there makes number 4 on our list. We like to get the Cheshire Cat tail, which is more like a croissant with some chocolate in it and some drizzle on top. That one's really good, and we always take friends and family there. They enjoy it as well. There's also a pink slushy drink that is very sweet that we love as well over at Cheshire Cafe, so we'll get one of those. I still think the Bear Tracks root beer float's a little bit better, but that one's a close second. And they always have things like the 50th anniversary cupcake. They have other special treats at that location at Cheshire Cafe. So we encourage you to try those all out. But the reason that this is number 4 is that Cheshire Cat tail, which is the chocolate croissant. So we love that. Now, we did find out on our last trip out here at the Cheshire Cafe that they had a pepper jack pretzel. So almost identical to the cream cheese pretzel where the cheese is melted on the inside. But this one was a cream cheese base, but it had some pepper jack in there. So not as hot as the jalapeno pretzel, which we've had at some of the other parts. This one's a good happy medium, and our entire family enjoyed it. So it's a little bit more savory, still a little bit sweet, but the pepper jack pretzel was a really good option there too. So lots of pretzel options at the Magic Kingdom out in Orlando. But that number 4 is anything at the Cheshire Cafe, but in particular that Cheshire Cat tail. Number 3, and I'm going to give you a special tip on number 3, is the cinnamon roll with LeFou's Brew over at Gaston's Tavern. So this is in Fantasyland. It's in the very back of Fantasyland behind Be Our Guest and not too far from the Undersea Adventure with the Little Mermaid. And there's a little area back there that's a little small village that's set for Beauty and the Beast. And they have a cool fountain out front, but in there you've got Gaston's Tavern, and that's where you get LeFou's Brew. LeFou's Brew was the answer to Universal's Butterbeer. And in fact, we like LeFou's Brew. It's very good. It's an apple-based treat with a like marshmallow and mango topping on top. It is very good. It's very sweet. We do think that Universal wins that war because Butterbeer is just a little bit better. But LeFou's Brew is very good. Again, the Bear Tracks root beer float is my favorite drink in the park. This is right up there at that pink drink from Cheshire Cat Cafe over there. They're both very good. But the treat here is the cinnamon roll. And here's the tip. When you go to Disney World, you're going to hear a lot of people talk about the Mickey cinnamon roll. The Mickey cinnamon roll is good. It's a cinnamon roll. It's shaped like Mickey. It's a little bit flat, a little bit tougher to eat as it's a little bit harder. This cinnamon roll over at Gaston's Tavern is your really big, thick one, kind of like a Cinnabon. And this cinnamon roll is 10 times better than the Mickey cinnamon roll. So that's the tip. If you've heard about a Mickey cinnamon roll and you want to get one, skip it. Go all the way to the back of the Magic Kingdom, go to Gaston's Tavern. We like to go there in the morning and go get a cinnamon roll there with LeFou's brew. Now, a second tip on this one is when you purchase that cinnamon roll, you can ask the cast member there for extra frosting. And sometimes you may not need it because the cinnamon roll is just coated, but it's always a great thing to get a little bit extra frosting in case you ever do need it, or while you're eating it, your family's sharing, maybe somebody wants to dip it and get a little more frosting on it. So that's our tip there, is to make sure that you get the cinnamon roll and ask for extra frosting back there at Gaston's Tavern. That brings me now to number 2 on our list. We're going to come back to Sleepy Hollow again, where we talked about the sweet and spicy chicken and waffle sandwich. And now I'm going to tell you our number 2 best treat in the park is the churro ice cream sandwich over at Sleepy Hollow. So this thing is just a mess. So you're definitely going to want to make sure that when you're done eating it, you head to a restroom to go wash your hands off, because you're going to be covered in ice cream and cinnamon and sugar. But they take the churros and they make them into a circular bun, just like Princess Leia's hair up on the side of her head. And they obviously make it into an ice cream sandwich with ice cream in the middle. These churros are very soft. They are phenomenal. This ice cream sandwich is served warm. It is so good, but that's why it's going to be a mess. It's just going to melt all over the place. So we definitely encourage you guys to go check that out. Now, if you don't like churro ice cream sandwiches, they also have funnel cakes there. And the funnel cakes at Disney World are phenomenal. We're going to talk about those a little bit more on our Hollywood Studios episode, because there's a really great stand there to get those. But the churro ice cream sandwich makes our number 2 snack in the park over here at Magic Kingdom, which now brings me to the number 1 snack in the park. And some of you may have already guessed it. And again, like I said on our Disneyland episode, I'm flipping my order because there is a distinct difference at Magic Kingdom in Orlando versus Disneyland, which is why this treat makes the number 1 spot on this list this time. And that is the pineapple upside down cake over at Aloha Isle with Dole Whip. Now, the big difference is at Disneyland, you can only get the Dole Whip. You can't get the pineapple upside down cake. But at Magic Kingdom in Orlando, you can get a pineapple upside down cake covered with the Dole Whip pineapple ice cream. And this is my favorite treat in the park, right up there with the Bear Tracks root beer float. So we love to go over to Aloha Isle, which is right behind Aladdin's Magic Carpets. It's between Frontierland and Adventureland in that area. And you're going to get this pineapple upside down cake, which comes in a little cup, and they're going to pile that ice cream on top of it, pineapple ice cream. And it is so good. It is a really sweet, spongy cake with pineapple, and then obviously the pineapple ice cream. This is something that we always make a stop for whenever we go there. And then you also have other options at Aloha Isle. You can get just the plain Dole Whip. You can get the Dole Whip float, which is really good. And that's what made the list over at Disneyland in Anaheim. You can also get swirls with coconut or raspberry or other types of ice cream on it. The pineapple, though, upside down cake with Dole Whip on it is the best snack in the park, hands down. So we encourage you, always make time to make sure you get over to Aloha Isle and get to check that. With that, we covered our top 5 restaurants, the top 5 foods, and the top 5 snacks. But now what I want to do is I want to talk to you about our I can do this all day tip of the day. And this is very important when it comes to making reservations or trying to secure that really coveted spot when you're going to the Disney parks in Orlando. And that is our friends over at Mouse Dining. And I have a link in the description for this podcast or on the video description where you can click in and find out more about Mouse Dining. But what Mouse Dining does is if you are unable to secure the reservation you want, you can go to Mouse Dining, you can create a free account, or you can do a paid one and get even more alerts. But what you can do is with that free account, you can set an alert for the day that you're going to be at the park and what restaurant you're trying to get. And they're going to keep an eye on that for you. And when a reservation comes up, they're going to text you and you're going to get an alert on your phone that says, hey, that there's a reservation available this day and they're just going to give you that time slot that is available. You're going to let them know what window of time you want to go. So if you're planning on just doing dinner at Be Our Guest and you can't get it, they will start then looking for anything from 4 to 8 o'clock, and they will send you that alert when it becomes available. Now, the challenge with mouse dining is you're going to have to be really quick, which means when you get that alert, you're going to want to go in there and click on it right away and secure that reservation, because it will probably be gone in about 15 to 20 seconds because there's so many people using this service. Now, this service, though, is going to help you secure that reservation. We used it personally to get our reservation to Space 220 at Epcot, and it worked, and we were able to get our Space 220 reservation. I will say the first few times, though, I got texted, it was about a month out, and because we did try it initially at 60 days and we couldn't get it. So now I'm about 30 days out, and then I started getting little text messages saying, hey, somebody 30 days out just canceled a reservation on that day. It was almost impossible to get them on those. I wasn't quick enough. I was busy with work. I was doing other things. And as quick as I could get in there, I always missed the reservation. But there's hope. And here's why. Disney has a policy that you need to cancel that reservation at least 24 hours in advance without being charged. So what's going to happen is the day before you go, since you're in that 24-hour window, other people are going to start canceling their reservations because they're not able to keep it. So the day before we went, all of a sudden, we started getting text alerts every few minutes saying, hey, another reservation open, another one open, another one open. And it was on like the second one, I was able to get in there and secure that reservation for Space 220. And I was able to get the time that we wanted, and we were able to enjoy that the very next day. So I will say, if you don't get it right away, don't lose hope. Keep going after it. And usually the day before, you're going to see a lot more pop open. And then that mouse dining is going to help you secure that reservation. Now, in contrast, we also used mouse dining to get a reservation at Tusker House, which is one of our favorite restaurants at Animal Kingdom. About 30 days out, I got the notification that there was an opening at Tusker House. And that one I was able to get 2 to 3 minutes later. While I was at work, I was able to go in and get that and secure it. And no one else took it. And it's not because Tusker House isn't great, but for those that are really trying to secure a reservation, they're usually going after the toughest ones. The Space 220, Be Our Guest, Cinderella's Royal Table, and the ones that are usually your tier 2 type restaurants are a lot easier to get, like Tusker House. And we're going to talk about them quite a bit on our Animal Kingdom episode, so I encourage you to listen to that. But if you are trying to secure a reservation and you have not been able to do so, click on that link in our description for mouse dining. Go set yourself up an account over there and set up the alerts for those dining reservations you're looking for and secure them. That way you can make sure that you get it. You're going to have a great time on your vacation, and you're going to be able to do what everybody wants to do on their vacation. With that, we want to say again, click subscribe so that way you get notified every time we drop an episode. But that wraps up our episode on Magic Kingdom. And next week, we're going to be going over to Epcot. Have a magical week. Bye-bye.